I was sitting at the kitchen table on a Tuesday night, going through our bank statements when I saw it. $800 every single month. Going back as far as the online records would show. I scrolled further and further. The transfers went to an account I had never seen before, under a name I didn't recognize, Kevin Ashworth. I stared at that name until the letters blurred. I'd been married to my wife Lisa for 22 years. I thought I knew every corner of our life together. I thought wrong. I didn't say anything that night. I sat across from her at dinner, watched her laugh at something on her phone, watched her pour herself a glass of wine like everything was fine. And maybe for her, it was. She'd been fine for 22 years, while $800 a month quietly disappeared from our joint savings. I did the math in my head. That was almost $200,000. $200,000 I never agreed to spend, sent to a man whose name I'd never heard my wife say out loud. The next morning, I pulled up the account details again at work. I'm a civil engineer. I build things for a living. Bridges, roads, structures that hold weight. So when I tell you the ground was cracking underneath me, I need you to understand I don't say that lightly. I traced the routing number, cross-referenced it with what I could find online, and within an hour, I had an address. Kevin Ashworth, Cedar Falls, Iowa. About 4 hours from our home in Belford, Illinois. A small town, maybe 6,000 people. The kind of place where everybody knows your business. I kept digging. Kevin Ashworth was an electrician, 43 years old, divorced. And then I found his Facebook page. There was a kid in his photos. A young man, maybe 20 or 21, with sandy brown hair and a jawline that hit me like a freight train. Because that jawline was mine. I've seen it in every mirror, every photograph, every family reunion since I was a teenager. I gripped the edge of my desk so hard my knuckles went white. I closed the browser, opened it again, looked at the photo one more time. The kid's name was Tyler, and he looked exactly like me. That night I came home and Lisa was making pasta. She smiled at me, asked how my day was, told me Amy called and said she got a promotion at her marketing firm in Chicago. Amy is our daughter, 20 years old, the pride of our lives. I nodded through all of it, feeling like a ghost hovering over my own body. When Lisa turned back to the stove, I said, "Who's Kevin Ashworth?" She dropped the wooden spoon. It clattered against the tile floor, and neither of us moved to pick it up. She didn't turn around right away. I counted the seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. When she finally faced me, her expression was something I'd never seen before. Not guilt exactly, more like a calculation, like she was running numbers in her head, figuring out how much I knew before deciding what to admit. "Where did you hear that name?" she said. Her voice was steady, which somehow made it worse. I pulled out the bank statements, printed, highlighted, 230 pages going back 19 years of digital records. I spread them across the kitchen counter like evidence in a courtroom. $800 a month, Lisa. Every month. For at least 19 years. That's over $180,000 from our account. To a man in Cedar Falls, Iowa. You want to tell me what's going on, or should I keep digging? She pressed her back against the counter and crossed her arms. "It's not what you think," she said. "Then what is it?" She swallowed. "It's for my mother. I've been sending money to help with her care. Kevin is her neighbor. He manages her finances since she can't do it herself. Your mother lives in Phoenix, Lisa. She's lived in Phoenix for 15 years. I talk to her on the phone every Sunday. She's never mentioned anyone named Kevin. And last I checked, your mother has her own pension and Social Security. Try again." Her jaw tightened. That look in her eyes shifted. The calculation was gone, replaced by something harder, something defiant. "You went through our bank statements behind my back?" I almost laughed. "Behind your back? You've been funneling our money to a stranger for 2 decades and you're upset I looked at a bank statement? That's our money, Lisa. Joint account. My name is on it." She picked up the spoon from the floor, set it on the counter, and took a breath. "Fine," she said. "Do you really want to know?" I've never wanted to know anything more in my life. She looked at the ceiling, then back at me. "Before we got married, I had a son. His name is Tyler. He's 21. Kevin raises him." The room tilted. I grabbed the edge of the counter. A son. She had a son before we got married. A son she never mentioned in 22 years of marriage. "You had a child," I said slowly, "and you never told me." She shrugged. Actually shrugged. Like I'd asked her about a parking ticket she forgot to pay. "It was before us, Mark. I was 22. I wasn't ready to be a mother. Kevin agreed to raise him. I've been sending money to help. That's it. That's the whole story." "That's the whole story." She said it like it was nothing. Like hiding a child for over 2 decades was a footnote, a minor detail she simply forgot to mention. I stared at her and realized, maybe for the first time, that I didn't know this woman at all. "Who's the father?" I asked. She hesitated. "Kevin. Kevin Ashworth? The one raising him?" "Yes." I nodded slowly. Something didn't add up. I'd seen Tyler's photo. That kid didn't look like an Ashworth. That kid looked like me. But I didn't say that. Not yet. Instead, I said, "You've been lying to me for 22 years. About a child. About almost $200,000. And your defense is that it happened before we met?" She rolled her eyes. "Don't be dramatic, Mark. Tyler has nothing to do with our marriage. I made a choice a long time ago, and I've been handling it. You were never supposed to find out because it doesn't affect you." "Doesn't affect me?" I was yelling now. I don't yell. I'm the calm one, the steady one, the guy who talks things through. But I was yelling. $180,000 from our savings doesn't affect me? A secret child you hid from me for our entire marriage doesn't affect me? What planet are you living on? She didn't flinch. She just shook her head like I was the unreasonable one. "You're overreacting. This is exactly why I didn't tell you. I knew you'd blow it out of proportion." I walked out of the kitchen. I couldn't look at her. I went to the garage and sat in my truck for an hour, staring at the wall, trying to process what had just happened. My wife had a son. A 21-year-old son she'd hidden from me for the entirety of our relationship. She'd been funding his upbringing with our money, and she didn't think it was a big deal. The next few days were a blur. Lisa acted like the conversation never happened. She went to work, came home, cooked dinner, watched her shows, like she'd filed it away in some drawer marked resolved. But I wasn't done, not even close. I called in a favor from a buddy who works in family law, asked him to pull whatever records he could find on Kevin Ashworth and Lisa's history. What came back made my blood freeze. Lisa and I started dating in March of 2002. We got engaged in November of 2002. Tyler Ashworth was born in January of 2003. I counted backward. January 2003 meant conception around April 2002. 1 month after Lisa and I started dating, while she was already with me, I confronted her again, this time in the living room, with the timeline laid out on paper like a blueprint. She was on the couch reading a magazine when I set the documents in front of her. "Tyler was born in January 2003, I said. "You and I started dating in March 2002. That means you got pregnant in April 2002. While we were together," she set the magazine down. "Mark, I'm not doing this. You don't get to not do this. You were pregnant with another man's child while we were together, while I was falling in love with you, while I was introducing you to my parents. Did you know you were pregnant when I proposed?" Her silence was the loudest thing I'd ever heard. "Did you know, Lisa?" She pressed her lips together. "I found out in June. I was already 8 weeks along. June 2002, 5 months before I proposed. She knew for 5 months that she was carrying another man's child, and she let me get down on one knee and offer her a ring and a future built on what I now know was a complete lie. "And you gave the baby to Kevin," I said. "You told Kevin it was his, and you told me nothing." "I told Kevin the truth," she snapped, "and I made a practical decision. I wasn't ready for a baby. Kevin wanted a child. Everyone moved on. Why can't you?" "Because you stole 22 years of honesty from me. That's why. Every morning I woke up next to you. I was living inside a lie you built. And the money. My God, Lisa. We skipped vacations so we could save. I drove the same truck for 12 years. I told Amy we couldn't help more with her student loans because funds were tight. And the whole time you were siphoning our savings to Iowa." She stood up, nostrils flaring. "Don't you dare make me the villain here. I gave up a child so I could build a life with you. I sacrificed." "You sacrificed?" I almost choked on the word. "You didn't sacrifice anything. You got to have your secret, your clean image, your comfortable life with me paying the bills, and you got to play distant mother with a monthly check. You had everything, Lisa, everything. And I had nothing but a lie." She stormed out of the room, but this time I didn't let it go. I couldn't, because there was one more thing I needed to know. Something I hadn't told her yet. I'd already ordered a DNA kit. It arrived 3 days later. I swabbed my cheek, sealed it, and mailed it in alongside a request for comparison. My buddy in family law helped me navigate the process. It wasn't easy, but through some legal channels involving Tyler's pediatric records from a public database, we got enough to run the comparison, and then I waited. Those 2 weeks were the longest of my life. Lisa and I barely spoke. She slept in the guest room, which was fine with me. I slept in our bed staring at the ceiling, replaying every year of our marriage in my head, every birthday party, every Christmas morning, every time she said I love you. Was any of it real? Or was I just the fool who paid the bills while she maintained her secret life on the side? Amy noticed something was wrong. She called me on a Thursday night, her voice careful. "Dad, is everything okay? Mom sounds weird on the phone. Are you guys fighting?" I almost told her right then, but I held back. Not yet. I needed the results first. They came on a Monday morning. I was at my desk at work when my phone buzzed with an email. I opened it, read it twice, then a third time. Then I put my head in my hands and cried at my desk like I hadn't cried since my father passed. Tyler Ashworth was my son, not Kevin's, mine. Lisa had gotten pregnant by me and told Kevin the baby was his. She handed my own child to another man and let him raise the boy for 21 years. She collected child support from our joint account under the pretense that Kevin was the father. She lied to Kevin. She lied to me. She lied to Tyler. She lied to everyone. I drove home at lunch. Lisa was in the kitchen, eating a salad, scrolling through her phone. I set the DNA results on the table. She glanced at them. I watched the color drain from her face like someone pulled a plug. "He's mine," I said. "Tyler is my biological son, not Kevin's." Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. She looked like a fish pulled out of water. "You told Kevin the baby was his. You told me nothing. But Tyler is mine. I'm his father. I've been his father for 21 years, and you took that from me. You took my son from me, and you gave him to a stranger, and you used my own money to pay for the lie." She pushed back from the table. "Mark, listen to me." "No. You've had 22 years of me listening. Now it's my turn." I called Amy that night. I told her everything. The secret brother. The money. The DNA test. The lies spanning her entire life. She was silent for so long I thought the call dropped. Then she said, in a voice so small it broke me, "I have a brother?" "Yes," I said, "and he doesn't know I exist." Amy cried. She cried for Tyler, for me, for the family she thought she understood. Then her sadness turned to anger. She called Lisa. I could hear the screaming from the next room. "How could you do this to Dad? How could you give away my brother? How could you lie about everything?" Lisa tried her usual defense. It was before the marriage. She was young. She wasn't ready. "Nobody got hurt." "Nobody got hurt?" Amy screamed. "Tyler grew up without his real father. Dad missed 21 years of his son's life. I never knew I had a brother. Who exactly didn't get hurt here, Mom?" Lisa hung up on her own daughter. Within a week, every detail was out. I didn't plaster it all over town the way some men might, but in a place like Belford, things travel. My sister knew first, then my parents, then our neighbors. Lisa's friends called her. Some offered sympathy. Most didn't. Her own mother, when she finally heard the full story, went quiet on the phone for a full minute before saying, "Lisa, what have you done?" Lisa tried damage control. She told anyone who'd listen that I was making it worse than it was, that the money was just child support, that she made a hard choice as a young woman and shouldn't be punished for it decades later. She used every excuse in the book. I was young. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I was protecting everyone. Protecting everyone. That was her favorite line. As if hiding my own son from me, bleeding our savings dry, and constructing a 2-decade web of lies was some form of noble sacrifice. She actually believed it. That was the part that gutted me most. She wasn't sorry for what she did. She was sorry I found out. I drove to Cedar Falls on a Saturday. 4 hours through flat Illinois cornfields and into Iowa. I hadn't told Lisa. I hadn't told anyone except Amy, who begged me to be careful. I pulled up to Kevin Ashworth's house, a modest 2-story with a chain-link fence and a basketball hoop in the driveway. I sat in my truck for 15 minutes, my hands shaking on the steering wheel. Then I knocked. Kevin answered. He was shorter than me, stocky, with kind eyes and calloused hands. He looked at me like he was trying to place my face. "Can I help you?" "My name is Mark Grayson," I said. "I'm Tyler's biological father." The look on that man's face. I'll never forget it. It was the same look I must have had when I saw Tyler's photo for the first time. Shock, confusion, then a slow, dawning devastation as 21 years of assumptions collapsed in real time. We sat at his kitchen table for 3 hours. Kevin told me Lisa had shown up at his door in the summer of 2002, pregnant, claiming the baby was his from a brief relationship they'd had. He believed her. He wanted to be a father. He raised Tyler alone after Lisa signed away her rights and disappeared back to Illinois. He never questioned paternity because he had no reason to. And Lisa sent money every month, which he thought was guilt money from an absent mother. When I showed him the DNA results, Kevin put his head on the table and didn't move for a long time. "I'm not his father," he whispered. 21 years, and I'm not his father. I told Kevin I didn't come to take Tyler away from him. I told him he was that boy's father in every way that mattered. He raised him, fed him, taught him, loved him. DNA doesn't erase that. But I also told him I wanted to know my son. And Tyler deserved to know the truth. Tyler came home that evening from his shift at a local auto shop. He walked in, saw two men sitting at his kitchen table with red eyes, and froze. "What's going on?" Kevin looked at me. I looked at Tyler, and I saw myself at 21. The same posture, the same way he tilted his head when he was confused, the same hands. "There's something you need to know," Kevin said, and his voice cracked on the last word. The weeks that followed were chaos. Tyler was furious at Lisa. He'd spent his whole life believing Kevin was his biological father, and that his mother simply didn't want him. Now he learned his real father had been out there the whole time, completely unaware. He called Lisa once, just once. She tried the same lines. "I was young. I was scared. I did what I thought was best." Tyler hung up on her after 4 minutes. Amy drove to Cedar Falls the following weekend. She met her brother for the first time in a Waffle House parking lot. They looked at each other, these two kids who shared my blood but grew up in completely different worlds, and Amy burst into tears. Tyler hugged her. They talked for 6 hours straight. Back in Belford, I filed for divorce. Lisa fought it. She wanted mediation, counseling, a chance to explain. She showed up at my lawyer's office in a new dress, mascara perfect, with a speech prepared about how families heal and how she'd made mistakes, but we could work through them. My lawyer slid a folder across the table. Inside was the complete financial breakdown, $182,400, exposed through the joint account. My lawyer also included the DNA results, the timeline proving she was pregnant by me, while letting another man raise my child, and a signed affidavit from Kevin Ashworth confirming Lisa's deception. Lisa's lawyer looked at her like she was seeing her for the first time. The judge wasn't sympathetic. Lisa's decision to secretly divert marital funds for 19 years without my knowledge or consent didn't play well. Neither did the paternity fraud. The divorce was finalized in 4 months. Lisa got the minimum the court would allow. She moved in with her mother in Phoenix. She texted Amy once a week at first. Amy read the messages but rarely replied. Eventually, Lisa's texts shifted tone. Less apology, more blame. "Your father destroyed our family. If he'd never gone through those bank statements, we'd all be fine. I was protecting everyone." Amy showed me one of them, and I recognized the pattern. The same pattern from the kitchen that first night. The shrug, the eye roll, the insistence that the real crime wasn't what she did, but that someone found out. Tyler and I talk every week now. He drove down to Belford last Thanksgiving and sat at my table with Amy on one side and my parents on the other. My mother kept touching his face, saying, "Oh my lord, you look just like Mark at your age." Tyler was quiet at first, but by dessert he was laughing at my dad's terrible jokes and helping Amy clear the dishes. Kevin drove down too. He sat with us. 2 fathers and 1 son, and a family stitched together from wreckage. It's not perfect. Nothing is. But it's honest, which is more than I had for 22 years. Some nights I still lie awake thinking about the years I lost. Tyler's first steps, his first word, his first day of school, his high school graduation. All of it happened without me, because a woman I loved decided I didn't deserve to know. She didn't just cheat me out of money. She cheated me out of fatherhood. She cheated Tyler out of a father who wanted him. She cheated Kevin out of the truth about the child he devoted his life to. She cheated Amy out of a brother. She cheated everyone, and when the walls finally closed in, her only regret was that she got caught. Lisa still tells people she was young and scared. She still frames herself as the one who made a hard choice. She still expects people to feel sorry for her. But the thing about lies is they don't expire. You can bury them for a year, or 10, or 20, and the day they surface, the pain is fresh. To me, it didn't happen 22 years ago. It happened the moment I saw that bank statement. It happened the moment I saw Tyler's face on a screen and recognized my own jawline staring back at me. It happened every single day after that, over and over. A wound that reopens every morning. And Lisa? Last I heard, she's working part-time at an accounting firm in Scottsdale, living in her mother's spare bedroom. Her mother barely speaks to her. Amy sends a card on Mother's Day but doesn't call. Tyler has never reached out. Not once. She built a perfect life on a rotten foundation, and when the cracks finally showed, everything came down. Not because I was cruel, Not because I wanted revenge, but because the truth doesn't care how long you've been running from it. It will find you. And when it does, there's no diary to burn, no bank statement to hide, no excuse old enough to save you. You just stand in the rubble of everything you built and realize the only person who destroyed it was you.